Second lesson on the sociology of education is about class and educational attainment. Educational attainment, an extremely important term for you to get through your heads. Educational attainment, if you see this written down, it just means what grades you're going to get in your exams. That is educational attainment. What grades you get. Do you pass or fail your exams? You won't be asked that question in an exam. You won't be asked to describe how social class affects passing GCSEs. You'll be asked about class and educational attainment. Okay, key words. Meritocracy, intelligence, IQ, development, interest, support, determination, bothered, parents' evening, homework, quotient, how much something is, how big something is its quotient, IQ, intelligence, quotient. So in this lesson, we're looking at the correlation between these two things, between class and educational attainment. What's the connection, the correlation? Right, so, put very simply, the children of middle-class parents usually get better grades in school than the children of working-class parents. It's not to do with IQ, it's not to do with intelligence, how clever, how smart somebody is. It's just about class. And the big question is why? So let's start off by looking at some evidence, because there's loads. So preschool. Here's some evidence. They measure kids' school readiness at 3, which means can they read and write a little bit, can they sit still? And you see highest fifth, lowest fifth, green to blue, highest fifth, richest 20%, green, poorest 20%, and you can see when they're 3 years of age, 63% of the richer kids are ready for school, only 32% of the poorer kids. Vocabulary when they're 3, how many words do they know? And you can see the richer kids, middle class kids, know loads more words when they start school than the poorer kids. Yeah. Year 1, vocabulary at 5. Again, you've got the richer kids, middle class kids, knowing many more words than the working class kids when they're in year 1. Conduct problems, meaning who mucks about in class when they're 5. It's the working class kids, not the middle class kids. Hyperactivity, the working class kids, not the middle class kids. So on these measures, even at 3 and 5, the middle class kids are already pulling ahead. This chart, which we'll use quite a few times over the next couple of years, it's a longitudinal study based on kids' attainment in school. 22 months, yeah, so not almost 2, 122 months, 6 when they leave, 11 when they're leaving primary school, roughly. The green line, high social class, low ability. These kids are not very clever. They are stupid. This grey line, low social class, high ability. These kids, their parents are poor, but they are clever. So the green line, rich, stupid. The grey line, clever, poor. Big gap, 22 months. By the time they've left primary school, the stupid, rich kids have overtaken the clever, poor kids. GCSEs. Just look at the light blue column. So middle class, class 1, working class, semi-skilled working class, unskilled working class. So you've got 30% of unskilled working class kids passing their 5 HSL to C. You've got almost 70% of the upper middle class kids. That's a big difference. Degrees the same. Won't go into details of that. Just that, middle class kids are more likely to have a degree. This is such a big deal, it appears in the paper. Read that headline there. from February 2017. When they do reading age tests, when they're 11 and 14, the bright kids from poor families are 3 years behind in their reading age tests. 3 years. Right, so class educational attainment. A family class and a child's grades in school. There should be no connection between these two factors because Britain, our education system, is meant to be a meritocracy. What your dad does for a living is not meant to be connected to what your grades are going to be. But there is. If you're clever and working class, then you are less likely to go to university than an equally clever middle class child. The question is why? We've got lots more work coming up on this, but essentially there's two main reasons. The middle class are better at preparing their kids for educational success. They have what's called cultural capital. Museum trips, piano lessons, language, no slang, the way they dress, the accents they have. And also the middle class mostly value education more high than the working class. E.g., the one we always use is dead simple. Parents' evening. And middle class kids, their parents will always go to every parents' evening. And some schools like ours turn out to like 50%.